Welcome to the Hot Spotting Real Estate Podcast. This is a bi-weekly podcast that talks about all things real estate with a splash of real-life topics. So tune in and let's keep it real. Hello, and welcome to the Hot Spotting Real Estate Podcast. I have a great guest today, Jillian Sabaugh. How are you?
I'm awesome. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good.
And Jillian is born and raised in Newport Beach, California. She graduated from the University of Southern California with degrees in print journalism and business. She has 3 young children, daughter Malone, newly 6, son Franklin 3, and daughter Clementine 1, and an amazing husband named Jason. Hey, Jason. And she worked on some of the West Coast's most notable projects, ranging from Fashion Island to the Grove. And she is the president and founder of Ukropina Sabaugh. Did I pronounce that right?
Ukropina Sabaugh.
Ukropina Sabaugh Inc. How are you?
I'm great.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
How you been?
Really good.
Yeah?
Really good.
Surviving,
thriving, living in 1 hour increments.
So you have a 6-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 1-year-old, and you run a company. Good for you.
Thank you.
How you feel?
Heart's full, hands full. Always a little bit tired.
That's great.
But it's really fun.
How's your 6-year-old?
She's fantastic.
2. We have 2 the same age. We stopped at 2. My wife wanted 4. We stopped at 2. So 6 and 3 I have. So I could feel you on the 6 and the 3.
They're your buddies.
Yeah.
I mean, our 6-year-old is dream girl.
Yeah.
Like just there for us. We're there for her. She wants to, come along, and they're walking, they're talking, they're asking pretty legitimate questions.
It's a lot of fun.
You have a good answer.
Like a full-on conversation.
Full-on conversation. Like intelligent questions. And I look at my husband saying, do you have the better answer? Right?
I don't want to say the wrong thing.
Who can negotiate better than any of us?
Wow.
So I help, it's good that she's helping me like hone my sales skills every single day.
That's awesome.
From, 6 a.m. until 7 p.m. at night.
Yeah.
But it's so fun in kindergarten. I mean, just their development is explosive.
Yeah.
It's so neat.
We have student-led conferences next week, so that's going to be fun.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So she'll be with you.
Yeah, she leads the conference. Like, she tells us how she did.
I love that.
Yeah, very interesting.
Raising good humans.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Why don't you give the listeners a little bit of background about yourself and how you got into commercial real estate, and then give us some background about Ukropina Sabaugh.
Thank you. I know, right? Another big name to another big name.
I should have gotten it right by now already. I'll get it right.
It's all good. I did go to USC, which was a blast. I met my husband there, which was an added benefit of that wonderful place. In school, I interned for Rick Caruso.
Oh, wow.
Which opened my eyes to this world. I always appreciated development. I always appreciated, being a consumer, but I didn't really understand that someone could actually take the time to link all those places and spaces together.
Wow.
And really, even before you arrive, create an essence of, of the local fabric of whatever town you might be in or grown up in. So when I interned for Rick Caruso and his team, it was my first eye-opening, like, oh my goodness, like, there's an actual business behind this place. There's transactions. There's years of planning and permitting and time and energy that goes into creating this environment. Mm-hmm. And then when it works, holy cow, it really works.
Yeah.
And you can be extremely successful and make your community hopefully successful by doing the right mix and the right development. So that I give so much credit for why I'm here, because I had exposure to that.
It's a fun first internship.
It was so fun. Yeah. It was so fun. And obviously, his projects, the added detail is unbelievable for right or wrong. But he creates, places of interest and incredible legacy that people tend to go back and return back to. So it was an awesome education. But while I was there, like you do in your business, you tend to take interest in other people and find out, okay, how did you get to where you are today? Right. How did you get to be so good at this? And I found some really neat advocates inside that experience that said, Jillian, you need to see bigger. You need to, Caruso obviously is a savant, but, you're so young, you're so hungry, like you need to, see the world. And they were so right. And that job led to Westfield, who at that time was the largest developer in the country with 71 projects, and at that time in the world.
Right.
And I started there, and the rest is history. Went to sleep with my BlackBerry, woke up with my BlackBerry.
Oh, I miss my BlackBerry.
I miss that sound. I just miss that sound.
Wow.
And it was unbelievable. I was in my early 20s, and I just kept raising my hand, like, what can I do? Can I just be in that meeting?
Wow.
I know to shut my mouth, but can I just listen, and can I learn, and can I be on that plane? And I had just a great experience with Westfield, and an unbelievable mentor that allowed me to essentially be their right arm, and got to see, the country through, and retail really through at that time a really incredible developer. And really that's what they did. They looked at these projects and how can they maximize the value.
Were you doing leasing?
I wasn't when I started. I was doing partnership marketing.
Oh, wow.
Which at that point was a super new avenue of revenue for these developers, right? And now you see it throughout all of our centers. You see the big giant billboards as you're driving through, these giant parking structures, or you see these huge, experiences happening, or concerts happening, and they're sponsored by American Express and sponsored by XYZ brand. So you're basically, creating revenue for the shopping center, hopefully in line with what, their taste and their ethos is. So it was neat, but you hit the nail on the head. I started to recognize I want to be where the where the bread and butter is, right? I want to do leasing. Mm-hmm. I want to be where everyone spends their time outside of them walking through the hallways,
right?
And I want to drive the value of the shopping center, and via minimum rent and so forth. So I didn't do leasing until halfway through.
Okay.
And I earned my stripes. I started with specialty leasing.
Oh, cool.
And then transitioned to permanent leasing. And then after 5 years, got a call from a private developer called the Irvine Company, based in Orange County, but have projects now throughout California and various silos well outside of retail. And that was such a thrill because I went from a publicly traded company that was shareholder value, slinging deals, driving volume. And they're certainly very, very thoughtful in what they do. But Irvine Company was extremely thoughtful.
Yeah.
It was, we can be patient, source the right deal, Jillian, vet it 30,000 times over. Mm-hmm. When you walk the property, pick up the trash as if you own the place, be the project, morning, noon, and night, and be true masters, because what Irvine Company does is they build everything around the shopping center. So they build the housing, they build the office, they build, the land, the schools, everything, every lamp, every street, it's master planned, which is, for right or wrong, it worked.
Yeah.
And so it was an incredible, another chapter of my life where I just soaked up so much experience, so much education, like so much practicality and patience in deal making. And it was a really cool ride.
That's
really
awesome.
Cool ride. And I grew up in Orange County. So to have a role, I think I was 26 when they asked me to lead Fashion Island, it was totally flattering.
That's awesome.
It was totally flattering.
You're like, yes.
I am not worthy, but you fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
I mean, so there I was on the road, visiting back all these great markets that I was exposed to via Westfield, but now carrying the torch of, a AAA shopping center that was owned by one guy. And, how can you make a diamond shinier sometimes?
Yeah.
So you really have to challenge yourself to constantly study retail, constantly look at the pieces, and how can you make some sweeping changes, to drive the value of the center, but drive the value of that neighborhood.
Nice.
So it was a really thoughtful education.
Cool. And then from there, what led you to going on your own?
Probably a big dose of naivete. How about you?
Yeah, sounds about right.
I come from two entrepreneurial parents.
Yeah.
Like thick as thieves. Like they are unbelievable. So our family dinner conversations were about life and business. And of course they withheld some of the tough parts, but at the same time they were extremely exposing about life is about it's undulations, up, down, everywhere in between, but you stick to what and you stick to your core values and you do good and you do right. Like you can do what you want and put your mind to it. And so I think I had reached that point at Irvine Company where for right or wrong, I was just kind of reaching a tipping point of, gosh, I don't know if I'm like totally challenged to my core. And to me, I couldn't rest with that feeling, and I thought, gosh, am I going to give the best to myself and certainly my company after a while? But I also recognized, Mike, how few advocates there were out there as true advisors, like true brokers that actually were there from start to finish, that could speak thoughtfully on behalf of their brand,
right.
could actually like empower their client, and be there and not just walk away when the lease was signed. And for me, I was like, God, isn't deal like numbers 2, 3, 4, 5, like just as important as deal 1?
Right.
Because if you don't do well in deal 1, like the others are not going to follow. And I just saw this growing hole in my short period as a, professional, that there weren't that many people that really thought about both sides. And so I thought, okay, well, I have a good dose of experience on the principal side. Like I know what the landlord needs and wants to have hopefully an everlasting or a good project. And then the tenant, I'm a consumer. I can empathize with them, right? So I just started constantly resting my head on my pillow, like I think there's something I can do to help fill that void. And then it was just a function of picking a date. And I have a really amazing husband that was like, go for it.
Nice.
Like,
that's what you need.
Go for it. Pick
that little last
date.
Push off the edge.
That little push off the edge. And I did it for him when he changed careers. And I was the sturdy one. And he was like, do it. And the craziest thing is we found out we were pregnant 2 weeks later.
Nice.
Yeah. And more like, what have we done? What have I done? I've left like a really amazing job. And now...
now you can't fail, so that helps
you. I can't fail. I never worked hard enough. I stayed on with Irvine Company for a little bit. They were so gracious. And yeah, I busted it. I mean, and you just reach out to your network. You pray that like you were kind, you've done good work, that you followed up. And our business has been just that.
So tell us what you guys do.
So I launched Ukropina Sabaugh for no other good reason of like, you are your name.
Yeah.
And professionally, I was Jillian Ukropina for so many years and then got married. And so I thought, okay, merge the two. But now we colloquially call ourselves U.S. Retail. I wish I was as creative as you, but I wasn't at that juncture. So we're U.S. Retail. And really, we started as landlord specialist.
Okay.
Because that's really my
that
love. That's my DNA.
Yeah, and that's you start Rick Caruso, Westfield, Irvine.
All right, yeah. Owning the keys to the house.
Got it.
You know how to look at life from the 30,000-foot view. You empathize with your architect, with your developer, with your PM. You understand how the house works. So I thought there's got to be folks that don't have in-house specialists that really practice what they preach, know how to merchandise, like literally know how to guide a guest from the minute you walk onto a shopping center to you walk out. How do we drive that length of stay, which drives sales and obviously volume and sales.
Right.
So it was unbelievable. It was just great pals of mine that we've worked together, said, you need to get in touch with so-and-so. Or so-and-so gave me a call saying, hey, we really loved what you did at this project. Can you help us with this development? And that's what we did. I mean, from Taubman to DJM, to Burnham, some really awesome folks that needed that added specialist, that person to come in to speak about their project or their, sub-market. And that's what we do best. Like we take the time to study as if we are in that market every single day, ask those questions, and we're really put on some really neat projects early on when we launched. And again, just young entrepreneur, you don't stop. I have that nagging bloodline that you just do it. You don't quit. And then by amazing grace, I have found women, not by choice, but just incredible partners that have had similar strategic experience and upbringing and professionalism to join this call to action. And so now we've been able to touch that many more projects And now, since COVID, the pendulum has swung quite a bit to the brand side. So
Nice.
now we're doing more tenant work.
So more tenant work now. So when you went from in-house, I always ask this question when someone transitions, in-house to your own firm, your mindset, how was that mindset for you? What did you do to get yourself ready and, successful in that transition?
Great question. And then I had that, you're going to have a baby, but you have no clue about that world, right? It's a world, what did someone say? It's a club you didn't know you were invited to until you were in it. I'm extremely habitual. Like, I can eat the same thing. I get up at the same time, maybe a little bit different now with 3 kids, but I am extremely disciplined. And so I think that has been helpful for me. Losing a deal, losing a client, winning a client, I just kind of keep it in check. So I think seeing my folks hit it hard and be extremely successful, but also reach the bitter bottom.
Right.
You just have to have a little bit of faith that if you just keep true to your word, if you put the goodness out there, that it's going to claw back. And I think that's what it takes longer than you think.
Yeah.
Right. And so I was very successful early on when I started, but it was so much luck. I mean, really, I don't know. I just think surrounding yourself with really great people.
I think that's what it is. It might not be luck. It's having the right surroundings that you're landed in.
Yes.
And you put yourself there too. So
yeah, I've been. I mean, like I really enjoy this business because of the people.
Yeah, it's
how
true.
much fun is it to do
It's
a
a lot
deal
of
with
fun.
someone that you have years or building years worth of relationships with.
Yeah.
I mean, it is so fun. We do a lot of national work now. And so it is such a joy to pick up the phone. Look, just coming to your office today, picked up the phone with someone doing a deal in Dallas, and he's asking me if I would endorse the tenant. Mm-hmm. I have not worked with him in the same office for 11 years. Wow. But what a joy that I could say, Bill, I fully endorse this tenant. Here are the 3 things I did really right. Do the deal. That's awesome. I would not hesitate.
That's great.
But it's such a joy.
Yeah.
You got to put the time in, though.
The time and, a little bit of effort. On the landlord advisory side.
Sure.
What do you typically do for a landlord right now? What's the process? If someone comes to you and say, I need your help, what are you guys doing?
We, in the past, have even had a landlord email address. So we truly insert ourselves into their company.
So you become one.
Truly. And I think that is because we have been in-house before. Mm-hmm. And we understand the nuances. We understand you got to sell internally just as much as you do externally.
Okay.
So that's spending time with a property team, with a coordination team, with the architects to figure out what are your pain points. When we assume a landlord listing or an advisory, we truly act as if we are their in-house real estate department. Mm-hmm. Of course, if they have in-house real estate department, we partner and we respect the relationship between us and them, and ultimately will heed to their guidance and their advice. But we want to be that added advocate. We still get out there.
Right.
Our team travels all the time. We love seeing retail. We love consuming retail. And so I think what we can do is bring a real thoughtful global perspective and can speak to what's happening out there in the street that might be relevant to their project.
Right.
But yes, we respect the organization, but really love to be that specialist to drive the right volume.
And it's mostly elevated retail, or what kind of retail are you guys specializing in?
It mostly is street retail.
Street retail.
It really is, or lifestyle projects.
Okay.
So it runs the gamut. We have a block of La Brea, in Mid-City. We have product in West LA.
Right.
We have a shopping center in Orange County that is arguably the very best retail and design showroom project in that county, and probably San Diego County. So they're really projects with perspective.
Right.
You know, we really try to find projects that have a voice, have a real place, as kind of we mentioned earlier, in that urban fabric, and really have a point of view.
That's awesome. Is there one that the tenant side or the landlord side that you find more challenging, or that you even gravitate more towards?
That's a great question. The transition from landlord to tenant wasn't as challenging as I thought. I think because we hope to be best advocates because we know what the other side needs. Mm-hmm. So we hope to really get to the solve fast. Because I'm like, guys, you can't push on these 3 points. Like, those are sacred cows for developers.
Right.
But hey, consider this. So hopefully we can get there faster and smooth out that process quickly. I think right now we're taking a tenant from 23 to 100 stores in 3 years.
Wow.
Which is so thrilling.
That's amazing.
It's a massive challenge.
Yeah.
It is awesome. Like, every part of our teams.
Where's that? Is that in California?
It's nationally.
Nationally.
Yeah. So it's a project. It's a brand called Skin Laundry. Okay. Started down the street in Montana and Santa Monica. Has stores in California and New York. Killer product. They do one thing, and they've only done one thing for 10 years in the aesthetic space that, you know, wellness and is just continues to be in such high demand. And they're led by an exceptional team. And we really are their external real estate department.
Wow.
We have created rec. We have created process. We are literally mapping out the map.
Wow.
That's
day. Very ambitious too.
It's crazy.
Good for you guys.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is. It has been it's been challenging, but at the same time, like, extremely rewarding because our team has been able to lean into their networks.
Yeah.
Right. Lauren has lived in Colorado to Chicago. Aaron has lived in San Francisco to San Diego. I've lived in LA to, you know, obviously Orange County, but we've worked with all of these great brands and friends, and I've done projects in New Jersey to whatnot. And so now we get to flex all that time we spent, you know, with others and, you know, developing relationships and scouting those streets, you know, with a thoughtful radar. Now we get to put that experience to work. It's been so fun.
Can you talk about your team a little bit and how, I mean, I think a couple of people on your team, and I've worked with one or two, but it's amazing how you guys all came together. So I'm sure there's a common denominator there, but they're all very successful professionals in our industry, and that just happen to be women. But it's, you know, I just want to see if you want to give them a shout out and maybe give us a little background on how you guys all, you know, formulated and got together as a little gang.
We would be nowhere. I would be nowhere without the girl gang. Everyone is, I think what I love about our team the most is we have similar guiding principles, right? Like, practice what you preach, come prepared, use your 2 ears and your 1 mouth, you know, listen thoughtfully. But at the same time, we each have different personalities. Like, you know, everyone has, you know, just looks at life through, like, really wants to have fun at the end of the day, and have touched and felt different projects. So when we come together as a team, like, it's absolutely dynamic.
That's awesome.
And we love affording that to our clients because we're not just one, you can't be all things, all people.
Right.
So I love being able to solve problems faster and smarter because I get to lean on Lauren and Aaron for their opinion. And we're all extremely independent. Like, everyone's running their own business under the umbrella, but at the same time, we can lean on each other and we can partner with each other based on our strengths, bandwidth, and interest, right? Like, Lauren is food and beverage focused. It is her love. She's good at it. She's great at it. She can speak that language. You know, Aaron really has incredible landlord perspective, can run the tenant side like no one's business. I like looking at life a little bit, you know, from a higher view and can be that bow that weaves them together.
Yeah.
But just rock stars, such cool rock stars, that we all come from different places, but as one, it's an absolute joy, and I think we help solve the problem in a really dynamic way.
That's very cool. So have you guys worked with like speculative developers who have an idea about an area that say, we think this area could become an elevated area within a community, and have reached out to you to kind of get confirmation about that? Or are you guys dealing with just guys who already control an area of real estate who want to turn it into an elevated retail experience?
It's both. We have both conversations.
Okay.
Sure. I mean, early adopters, right? There are those mavericks that just get it, right? And who are going to do it on their own, have the means to do so.
Right.
And just know in time it will mature around them. And then there are those folks that are a bit more delayed, see the maverick, and then we'll check in and say, okay, how do you see this manifesting?
And do you guys scout for that too? Like, oh, this area could be great, and you guys is that how you find some of your clients? Or
it's really a referral. Yeah. It's all word of mouth.
Yeah.
It's all word of
mouth. And that keeps you busy, I'm sure.
I know. but at the same time, like, avenues like this, you always got to be developing your pipeline.
Yeah.
And we get so stuck in the business. I'd love to know how you solve this problem. So stuck in the business. Yeah. That it's like you got to constantly make that call. You got to check back in with that person. You got to be out there. You've got to, try this place, connect with this person, because you can't just rest on that all the time.
Yeah. No, I agree. You never answered the question of which one you gravitate more towards, the landlord or the tenant.
It's like when people ask you about your children, like
I can see that.
It's just impossible.
Yeah. You love both of them.
Maybe there's seasonality to it.
Yeah, I could see that.
And there's deal fatigue, right?
Right. Oh, yeah.
There's project fatigue. There's tenant fatigue, and I hate to admit that. Yeah. And that doesn't mean we can't, sit in it for a second and then pick back up.
You need a vacation.
You need something. You need a mental, you got to keep it spicy.
Yeah.
Now, I can't pick. I think my heart will always be on the landlord side.
Yeah.
I really do.
But you can't help but put on the tenant hat because it's part of the game.
It's part of the game.
Yeah.
And being able to speak to that is where the secret sauce is.
Yeah.
And if you can marry the two, because ultimately you're out of the picture.
Yeah.
I mentioned we stay in the picture, but like you got to create a harmonious union.
Right.
And when you do that more and more often, it's so enriching. I can't pick.
Okay, I won't make you pick.
I can't pick.
Can you give us some a rundown of some of the clients that you work with right now who are very active, other than skin? You said skin laundry.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Skin laundry's taken a lion's share of we front load. So we've just done 29 deals. Last year, we'll do the same this year. Wow. And we front load it so that they can all open up by Q1, Q2 of 24. So we're gearing up right now. I'll be in Nashville next week, Oklahoma City.
Wow.
Lawrence in Florida. It's crazy. A lot in the health and wellness space, Mike. So that's
a fun space to be in.
It's
especially
fun.
If you're into it. I'm really into it. I would love to get into that space. It's so I don't think it's going to go anywhere. If anything,
it's definitely not going anywhere. I totally agree with you. And there's so many segments.
Yeah.
Right? Like skin laundry does a laser facial. Like what? Like a one thing. But there is so many segments and modalities to health and wellness. So we do pauses work, myodetoxes work, which is a super sophisticated PT concept, and so many others in the boutique fitness space, right? Things that we personally subscribe to, which maybe you can agree to.
Yeah, which is really cool.
Yeah, well, you don't sell, you're telling the story.
Right.
Right? And I think that translates.
Yeah, it does.
I really do. And so it's like you walk into a meeting and certainly you let your client speak, but you have to tee that up.
Yeah.
And so when you're able to succinctly and quickly really be able to divulge about what makes your client special, unique, what their call to action is, I think you can get that message across faster. And hopefully in this time when space is really a rare commodity back again,
right?
You got to be able to, be able to really thoughtfully, share it quickly, or else, there's 3 people waiting in line.
That's amazing.
And then we have several in the, food and beverage space that are growing. Jinya, Teaspoon. Lauren has a slew of chefs she's really working hard for.
Yeah.
it's exciting.
That's fun.
It's so fun. She has so much patience.
Yeah.
So much patience.
Yeah.
And really does a good job balancing the business with the creativity.
Wow.
It's a rare breed.
Is there a specific project that you're working on right now that we could talk about?
Yeah, we have a couple. Circa in downtown LA.
Circa in downtown
just
LA.
across from crypto.com.
Oh, okay.
Mastro's just opened, and Javier's is in for plan.
Oh, wow.
Which is epic.
That's cool.
Mixed use, tough.
Yeah.
But I think we'll be fine in the
What challenge did you have there? Was it just this? You came in obviously after it was built, I'm guessing.
Yeah, so it's just dynamic,
right?
Mixed use. Yeah. I mean, hundreds of apartments above, fully leased at rates that are mind blowing.
Yeah.
But you're staring at, ocean wide that is just waiting to be touched again. And then, of course, the obvious macro trends and micro trends hitting downtown.
Yeah.
Return to work. So we have a really thoughtful developer, but it's just getting the retail world back comfortable.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
It's the hard part, and you can't wave your hands. You can't wave your arms enough, right?
Yeah, you're slowly guiding. It's like
it's a slow drip.
It's like a line in Disneyland. You'll get to the end of the ride.
You'll get to the end of the ride. So yeah, no, it's just keeping at it.
Yeah.
And it's just bound to be down to basics like prospecting.
Yeah.
Like educating your client on what's market, on what's realistic,
right.
like the dynamics of what a deal structure should look like to entice people that can be successful, and then they can also be successful as the owner, knowing they're making significant income from above. We have a project in Torrance called the Enclave, which is a beautifully designed project that has a food hall component coupled with, it's all F&B.
Oh, cool.
All F&B. Beautifully designed, green space, water features, music. It'll be great for the South Bay.
Nice.
So that's really exciting. And then, again, blocks of La Brea that I mentioned that are like the streetwear hub of LA. I mean, just it's so cool to touch projects like that and keep us challenged.
Yeah, that's awesome. Mm-hmm. Well, I really appreciate you coming and talking about, your company and what you guys are doing, but let's talk a little bit about yourself. This is this part of my show where my daughter asks some questions. This is Alessandra Wants to Know. So let's hear her first question so we could get to know you a little better.
What are some of your hobbies?
Oh,
you got time for that?
I do.
All right.
I want to hang with her.
You should, anytime.
Yes. With children, their hobbies become yours. We're so lucky. Like, I'm so tight with my family. Like, have the coolest family, the greatest brothers, parents who are now friends. And we genuinely enjoy spending time with each other.
Nice.
So kids are so cool. Like, we really have a blast with them. And so family time is hobby. We just got back from a snowboarding trip.
Oh, cool.
Adult only.
Oh, nice.
And it was so sweet. I mean, like,
great.
It reminded me how much I love getting out there.
Yeah.
So love the mountains, love being active,
nice.
Love being outside. I also love hosting a great dinner party.
Yeah?
Love it.
That's great.
Like, you just, I get lost. I mean, like, the dishes, the flowers. I mean,
the little details.
Yeah, and I feel like retail is really that. And, like, shopping centers and streets are kind of that, right? It's like weaving it all together, big, small. You walk into a store, what do you smell? What do you see? What do you, like, all of that is interesting to me.
That's cool.
And so I really love, having folks in our space and just having a good time.
That's awesome. Let's hear the next question.
Do you have a favorite sports team?
Well, the USC Trojans by far.
All right.
In the blood, and now the world champion Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah?
My husband is born and bred in KC.
Oh my gosh. How happy was he?
I mean, no words can describe the
was
joy.
Was he nervous in the beginning of the game? Or?
Just like pacing the house. We're going to lose. Where's the positivity?
Wow.
And our daughter who's like calling the shots. I mean, doing the math on like when the guy misses the field goal. So we've become huge huge Chiefs fans, which has
Wow,
been
that's
so
so cool.
fun. It's
Yeah.
been so fun. And so, yeah, I would say the Trojans for life, but now the Chiefs for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, let's hear the next question.
What is your favorite food?
Great question. Killer question. Does it have to be one?
No, it could be multiple.
Oh, goodness gracious. Breakfast is a Paul's Eggy sandwich from Hotcakes.
Wow.
Unbelievable. Toasted English muffin
Okay.
with one layer of avocado, another layer of like this killer aioli, and then eggs with some sort of like sharp cheddar,
Wow.
perfectly melted, bacon, crispy, extra crispy bacon, and arugula.
Man,
It's like the best way to start your day.
this sounds amazing.
Yeah. He won't expand, unfortunately, but I've tried.
Yeah.
It's so good. I don't know. I just love a good burger. I'm a fry and burger girl.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with that.
You really can't go wrong.
What's your go-to burger?
It's funny. We're in Pasadena tomorrow, and I'm like, have you been to Pie and Burger?
No, where's that?
Oh my God.
What do they do? A smash burger? What kind of burger is it?
I think it's like 70 years old. Like
No way.
maybe like 50-year-old Pie and Burger.
Really?
So they literally serve like the most glorious pies, like a wedge of pie that is like, 7 inches high.
Wow.
With, whipped cream freshly made in the back. And yeah, like classic griddle burgers.
Wow.
Like good bread, good cheese, good meat that they've not changed since the beginning of time. And like, I like at In-N-Out, I like me some like crispy fries.
Yeah.
So bomb.
That's awesome.
You have to go to Pie and Burger.
I'm gonna
it's
go.
an OG in LA.
All right. Let's hear her last question.
If you can live anywhere in the world, where would it be?
I feel very lucky to live where we live.
Yes, it's true.
It's a toss up. Like I need like half of me needs
So
urban.
you could split it. You could split
Yeah,
the
like a London, Paris.
Okay.
Like,
You need
culture.
urban.
I need urban, but then we had a killer trip to Mallorca this summer,
Wow.
which is an island off of Spain that was just incredible, like incredible. So
Whole family?
just the husband and myself, but we
How
hoped
was it?
Unreal. So this is like the next island is Menorca and then Ibiza.
Okay.
But this place was it was unreal. So you got the Spanish culture,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you have the European way where they love living,
Right.
unbelievable food, but then you have this coastal Mediterranean water that is like to die for.
Is it warm over there? Or?
Warm, beautiful, blue-green water, grottos, unbelievable.
Wow.
In a cool town in the middle. Just fabulous.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah. I love it
I
all.
need me some of that.
But there's so many great places.
Yeah.
And so many that we've yet to see. But that would be pretty sweet.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, again, I really appreciate you coming on. It's always a pleasure. If someone wants to reach out to you, what's the best way for them to contact you? We could put this information in the show notes for them.
I am humbled to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's been so fun. Call, text, email.
We'll put that in.
Please do.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, Jillian. I appreciate you.
Thanks for having me. It was so nice to see you.
Thanks. Just a reminder, please take the time to subscribe to this podcast and leave us a rating and review. It's greatly appreciated. You can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Hot Spotting Podcast. If any listeners have any questions or topics they would like to hear on the show, or if you simply want to connect, you can email me at mike@hotspotproperties.net. Once again, thank you for listening. It's been real.